What's going on, ambitious vet? Thanks for diving right back inside the trenches with us this week. And if you're brand new, welcome home. Here we seek to provide the golden grenades you need to break through to new levels of satisfaction, fulfillment, and success in your life post-military after immediate transitional tools like resume writing, interview prep, and job fairs expire. We all know they do, right? So a question I have for you to start this show off is, what are you doing nowadays to escape from all this political propaganda noise going on today and actually take care of your freaking self and gain perspective on it all? On today's show with today's guest, you're going to find out not only on how to support more of those initiatives, but also be able to take that off time for you to do that refueling, that self-care stuff that allows you to be a better person in every area of your life. Stay tuned.
And I'm the sounding board. You may not be mad at me. You're just mad at something. So come on, let's go. Give it to me. Yeah. Give me what you got. Get it off your chest. What inspired us to do this is I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. Okay. And, the good Lord directs you where you need to go, when you need to go there. Nothing just happens. It happens just. Think about that for a second. Nothing just happens. It happens just. All right. What I mean by that is I got sick and tired of watching people go into what my veteran friends call the candy store, the VA. Okay. And some people I know have had phenomenal experiences at VAs. Some wouldn't go back if you paid them to. All right. They got tired of being denied till you die. Here's another pill.
Hey, what's going on, ambitious vet? Before we dive into the show, are you ready to download your free copy of our groundbreaking qualitative research study that is answering the billion-dollar military transition problem, and that has also been downloaded by dozens of some of the top private sector and government sector organizations and institutions out there in the marketplace? Well, I want you to go check out www.ambitiousvetnetwork.com. Download your free copy. And inside this study, we are going to provide perspectives from the DoD, private sector, and local veteran advocates on why the market is failing the new veteran generation that only make up 21% of the total 20 million veteran population today. We also reveal the top 6 critical pain points post-9/11 veterans have that are not being met today, and break down real-life scenario factors that play a role in them unlocking their economical value and their potential in the marketplace. This was a 2-year qualitative research study. It took us about a year to actually find an institution that has built out the onboarding and processes and systems to have bandwidth to do this research. And thanks to University of Texas at San Antonio, providing over 12 MBA interns throughout their MBA program, and also providing their technology that help deepen our data analysis. This thing is changing the game. And if you're as pissed off as I am about veteran suicide increases, homelessness, retention problems within organizations, and veterans just not self-actualizing in the post-military sector, go ahead and go check out this qualitative research study at ambitiousvetnetwork.com. It's a free copy, very low risk, but educate yourself on how you can be the activist in your local community.
It's time to get into the trenches, dig into your purpose, and fire up your life's fulfillment. The Ambitious Vet Podcast starts now.
What's going on, ambitious vet? We are right back inside the trenches this week with J.R. Smith. J.R. was originally introduced to me from a local DFW, United States Veteran Chamber of Commerce founder. And since then, I've been seeing this guy in the trenches everywhere, virtually. And I'm really looking forward to seeing him in person real soon with the work that he's going to be bringing out here in Texas. But he's not actually a veteran. He was raised by a rugged Vietnam veteran But he's also co-founder of Veterans Ranch, where their mission is to help those individuals lay down their heavy coat of burden, leave it there, and move forward. Ambitious vet, this guy has tons of personality. I think he has some brawn, but he is a stud by any means of the word. And everywhere I go, I'm hearing his name. So I'm excited to welcome J.R. Smith to the show. J.R., are you there?
Yes, sir. I am here. Thank you for having me. It is awesome to be here today and speak to your whole audience.
Yeah, brother. It's an absolute honor, man. Just thanks for joining the show. Go ahead and fill the gap instead of introduction. Let's know about your background and also what has led you up to who you are today.
Yeah, absolutely. I tell you, grew up in sales. You'll find out real quick. I'm real easy to start flapping my gums and tell you everything about who we are and what we do. But, I grew up with a Vietnam father. I'm a Gen Xer, right? They say we're the last generation that knows a world without internet, cell phones, the whole 9 yards. Vietnam father, World War II grandfather who had Great Depression parents. So, the term is we don't give a damn about your feelings. Shut up and go get a job and make a difference in the world. My parents love me, but, it was time to go make a difference in the world. So, I was growing up going to Tom Hopkins, Jim Rohn, very influential, important people that some of them aren't on this earth with us anymore, but we still read their books, listen to their tapes. And my dad always taught me to take notes. Okay. Always taught me to keep a legal pad by the bed in case you get an idea in the middle of the night. I highly recommend it. I've gone through a million legal pads with some ideas that went somewhere, some didn't. But this one really took off. And what I mean by that is the ranch was actually started at about 3:00 in the morning on October of 2017. Take this right here. You won't be able to read it, but scribbled right there says ranch. Okay. We're going to get it up on there so you can just barely kind of see it. That chicken scratch says ranch. All right. Had no idea what the hell that meant. My wife of now almost 22 years, we always want our own little slice of Americana. Couple of horses, 5-10 acres. The word ranch never came into play. Well, the good Lord works in mysterious ways. And we were going to Bass Pro Shops one day. And yes, I am that guy. You can drop me off at open and pick me up at close. And we stopped at Chili's to have some lunch. I asked my wife for a pen, ended up asking the waitress for about 20 napkins. And she said, I'll bring you the whole case, but what do you need them for? And lo and behold, the Veterans Ranch was started on literally Chili's restaurant napkins. And by December of 2017, we were a 501c3. It's me and my wife we're both proud patriots. My wife's father served in the Army after World War II, had two uncles in World War II. One was at Pearl the day it got hit. And that strong man lived to 2010. But I tell you, even though Alzheimer's took him, you still didn't say the word Japan around him because that never left him. My dad, going back to that, 2 tours Vietnam, his brother was in the Navy. Their father was Big Red 1. My uncle was Big Red 1 in Vietnam. So deep in both sides of our family. I graduated high school in 1991. Like I said, I'm a Gen Xer. And a bunch of my buddies went to the sandbox right out of high school. So I have a very strong passion for the ones that serve. Trust me, on Marine Corps birthday, happy birthday to all the Marines out there. My recruiter tried hard to get me. He got 4 of my buddies, and I guess 5 paid a better commission than 4. But I had options. I felt like I had not a better, but a different calling in life. So I didn't go. My dad said, look, you know what I went through with what Little he shared with me, because he was running Marines upriver out of Da Nang and probably saw some of the nastiest stuff this world had to offer at the time. So it all has cultivated, I guess, into this here, the Veterans Ranch. Yeah.
I mean, thanks for breaking all that down. It's crazy that a Chili's restaurant and probably a couple El Presidente margaritas started the Veterans Ranch, right? Because I don't know about you, but tequila kind of gets me going. I mean, what's your drink of choice? I'm a Scotch man primarily, and why? Because my dad was a Scotch man. But hey,
You threw a couple of fingers at Jack, Jim in front of me. I'm good. I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri, so Cold Bud and me are good friends. But yeah, Glenlivet, neat. I'm good.
Yeah, no, King of Beers. I mean, and that's originally Ambitious Vet, how me and JR really hit it off, both being from St. Louis. He has St. Louis Cardinals stuff behind him. And yeah, I mean, I think we're going to make it further next year. I'm excited about that team, man. But yeah, I mean, I definitely respect the fact that you were raised, it's in your side of your bloodline. And I also respect the fact that, you're a patriot coming in here and talking about how your father had a tough transition story, right? And, experience everything that he dealt with that probably had you be like, hey, this is stuff that's important to kind of focus on, which probably breeded Veteran Ranch, but let's not get all the way there yet. But to walk us through from your perspective, because I think from a ambitious vet that's listening to this, hearing it from someone that is in the family, like maybe one of their children, their siblings or something like that, walk us through, like, from your perspective that was not in the military, looking at your father's transition process and kind of what guided your decision making as you had other options, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, like a lot of times in that era, the Vietnam era, not everybody got welcome home, thank you for your service, cup of coffee, slap on the back. He came transition around through San Francisco International Airport. They told him not to wear his uniform. But as I've shared with you before, we're German, Irish, Austrian, and Native Americans, so it's kind of hard to tell us what to do. He wore his uniform going through the airport, and a bunch of Hare Krishnas and hippies and whatnot are spitting on him, calling him baby killer. Now, that was it right? No. Was it the time? Yes. Did he like it? Hell no. Nobody liked it and didn't deal with it very well for a long time. He didn't have his medals in shadow boxes on the wall. He didn't wear a Vietnam veteran hat. And then at that point, he had to try and figure out, I was born in 72. He got out in 73. So now he's got a family to feed and figure out what he's going to do with himself when he gets out. His job was running dual 50 cals on the front of the PBRs. Not many skills there that you can transition into civilian life. Fortunately, he found a job fair, a recruiter that sent him to a job fair, who he learned the definition of wearing thick-soled shoes first because they sent him out with a Kirby vacuum salesman. People old enough listening here will know what those are. And the reason why he needed the thick-soled shoes is so when they slammed the door in your face, you could put your foot in the door and it didn't crush your foot. He realized real quick that wasn't for him and ended up getting with a company called Avco Financial. It's actually now part of Citicorp. And Avco Financial at the time was a savings and loan before there were savings and loan. They'd hawk your sticks, as we kiddingly say, your furniture, your car, your house, you name it, they'd finance it. Being the position my dad came out of in the Navy, he was always driven. He was not going to sit around and take 2 years to go through their management training program. He finished it out in 9 months. They realized he was driven. They turned him into a fixer, meaning if there was a problem in an office, they'd send him to that office to fix the problem. So instead of being a Navy brat, I was an Avco brat up until about kindergarten age. I lived in St. Louis, Cedar Rapids, Iowa, Lawton, Oklahoma. I forget which part of Nebraska, right there in the heartland. But for me personally, that gave me a lot of experiences, meeting a lot of people at a young age. Until 1980, I was an only child. My sister, 7.5 years younger than me, came along. So, I was around adults all the time. So that really helped shape my life into what I'm doing today, because I was talking like an adult and making adult decisions, when I was much younger. But that transition, had he not found that career fair, that job fair that he was pushed into and not or realizing he didn't want to be a Kirby vacuum salesman, led him into a lot of things to where, down the road, he ran car dealerships in St. Louis for 20 years, did TV commercials for those car dealerships, which is where I got my ability to be a ham in front of the camera. and, go through all those things where I was able to learn those life skills, even though I didn't realize it at the time, 14 years old, writing down notes on a legal pad at a Jim Rohn conference. But, you apply those things over life and time, and here's where they are today. So I would say this to anybody out there that is in that transitioning stage: figure out what you're passionate about. It's no longer about what you did in the service, because I knew a guy, he was a diesel mechanic in the service, a good friend of mine, but he couldn't work on the kind of diesels that are out here in the marketplace. It was all different, kind of thing. So he had to go back through a training program at one of these mechanic schools to work on diesels, Fords and Chevys and Cummins and all that kind of stuff. So, but he had a passion for being a mechanic. So find something you love to do. May not be anything you ever thought you'd like to do. Again, with the ranch, we never thought about 30, 40 acres, 20 horses. That's the direction all of this is going. We never thought about any of that, but that's where we're going today.
Yeah. Yeah. And seems like all those life skills, right, that your father ingrained to you, which, by the way, that is like the Vietnam generation of veterans is a different way of thinking from the post 9/11 veterans, which are mostly made up of millennials. There's some Gen X there as well. We are more purpose centered, want to feel like we're on purpose, stuff like that, but also we're more emotional, I guess you would say. Right. And that is a different school of thought, but I love how you've been able to balance that, being raised by a Vietnam vet, and then also coming in and figuring out how to penetrate the veteran marketplace, right? Because it's not easy not being a veteran coming in and being like, hey, I want to trust you, but you speak kind of our language, you're sarcastic, you cuss a lot, you seem real, you have integrity, stuff like that. You seem like you got some discipline. I'd love to drink some beer with you, but you haven't been where I've been. So like for you to come in here and provide Veteran Ranch, what inspired it? And, why you versus like a veteran that would be starting this, right? That veterans could be like, well, they understand where I'm at. What would you say to that?
Yeah, well, I tell you what, and that's very true. The challenge is, we're coming into a space where you'll share some things with me, but not nearly on a level you will if I was wearing the uniform, if I raised my hand to be the 1%. But I tell you, the one thing we do, even though I'm really good at flapping my gums, God gave me 2 of these and 1 of these, and I try and use them proportionately. I'm a good listener. Okay. Sometimes you just need to get what's off your chest, and I'm the sounding board. You may not be mad at me. You're just mad at something. So come on, let's go. Give it to me. Yeah. Give me what you got. Get it off your chest. What inspired us to do this is I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. Okay. And, the good Lord directs you where you need to go, when you need to go there. Nothing just happens. It happens just. Think about that for a second. Nothing just happens. It happens just. All right. What I mean by that is I got sick and tired of watching people go into what my veteran friends call the candy store, the VA. Okay. And some people I know have had phenomenal experiences at VAs. Some wouldn't go back if you paid them to. All right. They got tired of being denied till you die. Here's another pill. I just thought, you know what? If anybody gets free health care in this country, it should be our veterans and their immediate household family that put their ass on the line. The family serves. They are in a different brigade. They don't wear, it's a different uniform, right? They're not wearing the uniform, but it's a different one. So if it's to be, it's up to me. I'm a big believer in that. Okay. And what I mean by that is, damn it, if no one else is going to pick up the ball and run with it, I'm a big sports guy, so you hear a lot of sports analogies. Why not me? What am I doing? Sitting around on my ass, saying I care about veterans and not doing anything about it. So when we got this idea, I made it happen. Now, the good Lord made it happen, but he guided my feet. Okay. When we started this, I'm from the Midwest. I grew up 20 minutes from the Ford, Chrysler, Chevy plant, the Corvette plant before they moved it. Needless to say, I'm a gearhead. I know how to turn a wrench. my attorney who didn't set up 501s, he guided me to a lady that did. And she kept telling me and complaining about how her husband kept bitching about his 76 Corvette that he couldn't fix. Mm-hmm. In the meantime, she's telling me how much all this is going to cost. Well, my wheels are turning, okay, before she's even done. She gets done. I said, okay, it's time to shoot your shot. And that's what I'm telling everybody to do. Shoot your shot. It ain't how many times you get told no. It's how many times you get back up and look for another yes. But here's what I did. I said, look, I'll fix your husband's car. You set up our nonprofit. She went, what? I said, I'll fix your husband's car. You set up our nonprofit. Done. When it's right, it's right. You don't ask, you don't get. So I just got tired of watching other people not do something, set up a nonprofit, say they're helping veterans, do one half-ass fundraiser, and they're just doing it for tax write-offs for their business, funneling money through their nonprofit, and they aren't doing a damn thing. And organizations that are saying they're helping veterans, and they're not.
Yeah, it's true, brother. It's true. I mean, that aligns with why we started what we did, but going the for-profit round, because we wanted to have our results be transparent. And, there's a lot of other things. But yeah, I mean, to your point, I think last time I checked, IRS has 46,000 501c3 registered for veteran support organizations. If you go and you look a lot of them up, a lot of them are not consistent. They're not active. They're not really doing much.
No.
And yes, we need results. We need new training. We need may screw this word up, but more alternative approaches towards healthcare, creating better mindfulness, emotional development within veterans, spiritual development, stuff like that, versus the big pharma approach, right? I'm not a big fan of, my wife is a pill popping animal. Like we have medicine for days in here, but I'm more of like balancing the big pharma and also some holistic approaches. And it sounds like that's the need you're trying to bring too, is the alternative approach towards helping all generations of veterans, not just post 9/11 vets, just be able to come in and figure out how to heal, man, and speak more about some of the results and some of the methodologies that you guys bring to the table to help veterans heal.
Yeah, absolutely. I tell you, we call horses God's majestic animal. My dad calls them your seventh sense. Okay. To cover that, he said, that's your guy in your unit that knew everything about you, the good, the bad, the ugly, didn't judge you. You were there to get him home. He was there to get you home. That's a horse. Okay. A lot of people, if you're not in the horse world, you won't know this, but you can ask a horse to continually run at top speed for you, and it will until it collapses and dies. That's loyalty that most men and women do not see outside of the service. Okay. Mm-hmm. People will let you down. They get into corporate America and they find out that, there's a chain of command, but it's really every dog for himself, and it's a dog-eat-dog world. So what we bring to everybody with a horse is, here's an animal that can feel a gnat land on its back. What do you think it feels from you 2 feet away? Short answer is everything, right? But it will allow you to get on its back and give you the frickin' ride of your life. Your problems will be there when you get back. But forget about the world for a while. Maybe those problems aren't as strong. That's what we want. We want people to start walking off a new and improved version of themselves. Doesn't have to be on the first try, can be on the 100th try. The Veterans Ranch is going to be here for as long as you need us. And that's a valid point you brought up. If you're still kicking from World War II and you want to play with a horse, come on. You just rotated out yesterday. Come on. We're not, I hate we're just a post 9/11. Okay. That's going to be our largest segment of the population, the veteran population here, once our Vietnam veteran era starts dying off. My dad just turned 72, but he's got great Austrian genetics, so he'll live forever. But the point is, come one, come all, and we're going to help you with this horse. Okay. I'll give you a quick couple examples. One guy we worked with, he literally within 10 minutes started breaking down crying. And we're like, holy shit, we don't know what's going on, what's wrong. So we all run over there. And let me be real clear with your listeners. I will never talk to somebody like I wore the uniform. I will not disrespect someone like that. So I always have veterans with me. So we go over and we find out, did you get kicked, stepped on, whatever, anything that can happen with a horse. He said, guys, you don't understand. I've made more breakthroughs in 10 minutes with this horse than 10 years and 3 failed suicide attempts on the couch. Think about that. That's powerful. Okay. The government, there's a place for, psychotherapy. I get it. I'm not knocking those people, but they went to school for a long time. Most of them, if any of them wore the uniform, they just want to ask you, how does that make you feel? And we know how it makes you feel. You feel like shit, or you wouldn't be there talking about it to begin with, or you wouldn't be drinking or taking pills or both, or isolating from your friends because you think that's all you can do. Get you with that horse. Horses can be smartass, but they're great listeners. You can tell your whole life story to a horse. Next guy, trail ride we did about 6 months ago. Okay. We brought out a Belgian. Now, if you're not familiar with a Belgian, take a Budweiser Clydesdale. We all know what they look like, and shrink it just a little bit. And there's a Belgian. Okay. Now they measure horses in hands like this, 1, 2, and so on. Okay. This horse was about 18 hands. I'm 6'4". I'm looking at its withers, meaning its shoulders. This guy was 5'5" with boots on. He's looking at ribs.
Okay. Holy shit.
His wife's there. Now he was active duty Air Force. Okay. About ready to go out to Okinawa again. And his wife was medically discharged Air Force, had ridden dressage for like 20 years. She was in heaven. But she comes over to me and says, JR, you got to help me. He's mad. He's cursing me out. He wants to go home. He's freaking out. I'm like, don't worry about it. He ain't any of those things. He's scared and he can't admit it. Okay. So again, I'll never talk to somebody like that. I go over to one of my buddies who was a Marine. I tell him what's going on. He starts laughing. I'm like, oh shit. Like, you got this? He's like, yeah, I got this. Comes over to him. Fuck's wrong with you, Airman? You a fucking pussy? You're going out to Okinawa and you can't get on a fucking horse. What the fuck's wrong with you? Goes on for a couple of minutes. After a while, he's just breaking him down, right? Started laughing. We're not trying to make the situation worse, but uniform to uniform, he wanted to kind of break him down a little bit, get him talking. And once he started laughing, he said, guys, you got to understand something. I'm from the Bronx. That's all he had to say, right? Never saw the mounted patrol in Central Park. He said dogs running through the neighborhood were strays. Bottom line is we get him on the horse, take him around the arena. One of the things we'll do is this isn't your steering wheel. It's a correction point, but your hips and your feet are more your steering wheel. So we're teaching him how to do that on this animal that's, over 2,000 pounds. And we get him out on the ride, made sure an experienced person was in front and behind him. And when he comes back, he has this big shit-eating grin on his face. And we're like, how you doing? We get him off the horse. Now, mind you, I'm, at 6'4", a Belgian's about yay wide. They make me walk funny. Okay. Especially if I haven't ridden one of them in a while. He goes, walking a little funny, but let me ask you something. We're like, what's that? He's like, can I get a Powerade out of that cooler? And can I go on the next ride? That, my friends, is the good Lord in a horse. We never break our shoulder, patting ourselves on the back. We just bring everybody together. Mm-hmm. His wife was in immediate tears, right? Because went from being mad, cursing him out, cursing us out, and then, wanted to go on the second ride. When he came back from the second ride, we're like, you want to go on the third? There really wasn't a third ride for the day, but, he's like, no, I need an ice pack. I'm good.
My ass hurts or whatever.
Yeah, but that's the power of the horses, guys, and gals out there listening to this. It's absolutely amazing what they can do for you.
Yeah, it's so good. And on top of like mental health, which you kind of hit on, what are some other like benefits from what Veterans Ranch is currently on course to providing and has provided? What are some of the benefits that you see that all generations of veterans get from going on your retreats?
Well, one, they generally leave the event that we just did a trail ride this past Sunday, and yeah, everybody, especially if you haven't been on a horse in a long time, you're a little apprehensive when you get there. You're smiling, joking, and laughing when you leave. Just that natural endorphins that kick in after riding this beautiful animal. You feel better. You start to think clearer, and long term, your life, folks, is 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you react to it. At the Veterans Ranch, we can't live in that 10% space. That's everything you've seen, done, experienced to this point in life. Well, let's face it, we're human. Okay, we fuck up the 90%, 100% of the time because we act out irrational. We do all those kind of things. Yeah. We're there to try and help, because I will not say fix, because veterans aren't broken. I hate when I hear people say that. Okay, y'all just walk through some shit, and now you got to learn how to deal with it. So you'll never forget what you saw. We're going to help you deal with it better. Now, as we grow and we expand, we're also going to be growing into things of showing veterans how to do hydroponics and aquaponics. Farm to table used to be how we ate. Now it's a catchphrase called organic, and they charge you $1 more for it. I was in the grocery store this afternoon. A head of lettuce was $1.89. Organic lettuce was $2.89, and it was a smaller head. Like, how the hell's that work? It's either fertilized with chemicals or cow shit, but it's still coming out of the ground.
That's funny. With all this inflation shit, it doesn't surprise me that, anything, we're out here in Texas and gas prices are over $3, which is just insane, man.
Tell me about it.
But yeah, thanks for breaking that down, because, I think even for someone like myself that still has that residual effects 10 years later of being out of the uniform, still feeling with like that anxiety, that kind of stuff that we naturally deal with as me for being a Marine, intensity. Sometimes we need something that has a calming element, right? That can help us kind of process those emotions, whatever, a little bit better, right? So it sounds like you guys are doing a great job with that. I acknowledge you for doing that. So I know we're probably 10 minutes now over time, man. Please don't haze this Marine, and I won't haze you back, brother. But I want to kind of transition to the last segment of this show, and it's the one last golden grenade, right? There's an ambitious vet that's outside the trenches of life right now that is lacking something, has the career readiness stuff down, but maybe his marriage is just, or he or she's marriage isn't where they want it to be, or, they can't maintain relationships, or just are not as satisfied as they would be. What would be one last golden grenade you would provide that ambitious vet? And then we'll give you a call to action.
I'll say what our main Latin phrase is: non solum pugnare unitum stamus. Don't fight alone. United we stand. You fought as a unit together. Do not suffer in silence once you get out. Get battle buddies. You had your battle buddies when you're in the service. Now you're out. Now you need life battle buddies. Okay, everybody listening here, whether I know you or not, you're now my life battle buddy. You need something, you email us, you call us, you reach out to us. Do not be afraid. And it's okay to be afraid, but it's okay to not be okay, right? We all see the t-shirts. Reach out to someone, your neighbor, your buddy, somebody. I got buddies back in St. Louis. I could pick up the phone at 3 a.m. and they'll figure out how to get me what I need. Get those kind of friends, and we'd love to be one of them.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you're creating a pretty badass community with the Veteran Ranch. You've been building a solid team around you, and you're getting some amazing donors to come on board. And for an ambitious vet that's in here, it's just like, hey, I want to figure out how to be a donor for the Veteran Ranch, kind of help them go to the next level. I'll let you share kind of what's coming up in the near future. But where can they go get more involved with either donating or even potentially coming out and being a member of your retreats?
Yeah, the website itself is theveteransranch.org. Say it again, theveteransranch.org. Find everything about us. Obviously, you'll see the donate button. And what we're asking is if you want to get involved, shoot us an email. We're doing events all the time. We literally like I said, we just did Trail Ride Sunday. We're going to do another one after the holidays. But we're needing people across the country to give. And here's what we're asking. Do you give a buck? Think about it. Okay. Do you give a buck? Do you give a buck about veterans? Do you give a buck about life? So there you can donate. We're going from $1 to $1,000 a month. Okay. Anything in between helps. There's a lot of ways. You can go to theveteransranch.org, doyougiveabuck.org. Let's start getting back to giving a buck about veterans today and our active duty military. That 0.5% in the world wants to make you think we want to piss on the flag and we hate our military and defund the police. And I'm not getting into politics, but it's what's being shoved down our throat on a daily basis. Trace Atkins says there's more of us than there are of them. Don't you think it's about time we stop giving in? Let's start giving a buck about veterans again. Help us help the ones that served us all every single day.
Trace Atkins also says every light in the house is on. Yeah, definitely.
Yes, sir.
Trace Atkins guy. But yes, ambitious vet, if you're listening to this, make sure that you're going over and giving a buck, right? A buck, $5, $10 to make sure that JR and his team can get out here, back out to Texas, closer to us here at the Ambitious Vet Network. So he can be providing these retreats and stuff like that. That's going to help veterans like you reach your full potential by getting those little retreats, those little escape times. I mean, I say that a lot, on this show, JR, to these vets, is that escape time is the best, most important time for self-management, gaining new perspective on life. And, I encourage you to get over there, make sure you're donating anything that you may have to help forward their cause. Because I promise you, JR is the real deal. If he wasn't, he wouldn't be on this show. And if you got a problem with him being not a veteran, then that's your own shit. I'll be just completely honest with you. This guy is very connected. Every veteran group that I go and network inside of, his name's either brought up or he's very well trusted member of those veteran groups. So that's good enough for me, and I hope that's good enough for you. JR, is there any other parting words that you would give to the Ambitious Vet Network?
Just want to thank you and the Ambitious Vet Network for having us on here today. It's been a fun time, and we could go on with this for hours as we have in the past. But just really want to thank everyone for their service out there. And I know that gets used as really an empty catchphrase today, but we really put our money where our mouth is on it. We're in the trenches helping you guys and gals every single day get to a new place in life. And we're just so happy that the good Lord gave us the ability to do it. Reach out to us, email, call, donate. What we're talking about here is we're going to be moving the corporate headquarters from Lakeland, Florida to Stephenville, Texas, the cowboy capital of the world. So, we're going to be out there. We're going to leave something in Florida too, because we're licensed in both states. So we're going to have 2 locations, but it's all about helping veterans. There's about close to 3 million veterans in Texas. And the stats just came out in Florida yesterday. There's 1.5 million. Y'all are an awesome pool of people to pull from. And we just can't wait to, get there and start helping y'all in that area.
Yeah, it's awesome. So Ambitious Vet, again, that's veteransranch.org. Get over there and find out more about what they're doing. JR, thanks for joining the show, brother. You're an absolute badass in what you do, but also a funner friend, man. You're just an amazing dude that I look forward to hopefully meeting you in person, having a couple beers with soon.
Sooner than later, absolutely. Thank you.
The Ambitious Vet is available on all popular podcast platforms. Go to vettrainingcoaching.com to subscribe, rate, and share with fellow vets.
Ambitious Vet, before you go, make sure you go download your free copy of our newly released qualitative research study that breaks down what the market's missing for veterans, maybe like yourself, that has been out for a few years but is lacking something in life. We break down the 6 critical pain points that post 9/11 veterans have, including real life scenario factors that we've surveyed over 300 veterans in 31 states across the nation around how to unlock their economical value and reach your full potential in the marketplace. This is our tool. And if you're a decision maker inside of an organization, this is your tool to help advance veterans, military spouses inside of your organization, and develop your talent for retention problems. And if you're a post-out veteran, this will give you perspective from 3 different perspectives from the DoD, private sector, and local veteran advocates on why the market is failing you. This is key research. We've been doing it for over 2 years now, and we finally have released it. Go get your free copy now at ambitiousvetnetwork.com. Again, ambitiousvetnetwork.com.